Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will attempt, in the brevity of my intervention, to average back to the time that I really should have been able to cover between the two presentations today. So, fear not.
I might to understand, honorable member, given that you are a development economist, that you're saying that if you had 50 minutes or 60 minutes earlier, just a supposition, if you had 60 minutes before and you would take then 10 minutes, so we can 60 plus 10 is 70 divided by 2 is 35. So we give you you're giving yourself 5 minutes or something?
Mr. Speaker, as the honorable member before me said, it is good to have aspirations, so I will aspire to do what you have outlined, but that's what I'm aiming for. I don't intend to be long, sir, because the points that I want to make, I think, can be made with brevity, and I hope to be very precise in what I am aiming for. So, where I want to begin, sir, and I thank you for giving me permission to mention somebody who I think has been very important to the way in which KOMI has been able to perform over the last 5 years and its prospects for the future. And I have to make reference to the current chairperson, Mr. Damian Gaskin, who has really stepped up, stepped in, has occupied a space as chairman that really has gone above and beyond what we would normally expect from this kind of role. I have to salute him and the team that he has worked with at KOMI with very limited resources. And so the reason that I mention that is that I know that his team, he himself and his team, have really been making very strong arguments for increased investment in that facility. Increased investment in KOMI is necessary. You know, the honorable member for Christchurch East Central talked about creating something to which young people aspire, and being able to make sure that historic ground remains historic, and that it stands as a beacon of excellence for all of the cricketing greats who have passed and all of those who are to come. I don't want us to give up. I have been imploring the honorable member not to give up on West Indies cricket. I do not know if he was able to see the last century by Shea Hope, which was his 16th one-day international century. I continue to follow very closely what our young West Indies team is doing. And I believe that they need the support of governments in the region, and they need the support, they need us to bet on them. Not just in terms of upgrading grounds, but also many players like Shea, like Kyle, like Jason Holder were able to benefit from the High Performance Center that was based here in Barbados. I believe that not just upgrading infrastructure, but continuing to invest in how we raise cricketers is critical, and that these investments have to go beyond lights and beyond the physical infrastructure and help us to address those things. I don't know how many people, sir, I know you were one, who's able to watch, notwithstanding that West Indies was not involved, the last Cricket World Cup. And just looking at the way that we were able to enjoy the game. I mean, seeing that camera, that mobile camera, unmanned robotic camera on the boundary, catching every boundary, catching every ball. I mean, sir, if I sound excited, it's because it was exciting. And that kind of technology is also something to which we have to aspire, the development of cricket technology, whether it's the scoring, the scoreboards, how we cover the game, how we grow the market. So it's not just the players. It is cricket commentary, and we have some emerging and quite well established now Barbadian commentators that are doing amazing things globally. Whether it is cricket governance and being able to explore and expand the industry in that way and also through cricket technology. But going back to the Cricket World Cup, the other thing that we have to realize that we are up against is that we're up against an internationalized approach to the game. And if we look, for example, at the way that India, as a cricketing nation, recruits and grows the game, I mean, first of all, the administrators are going into villages and going into communities and finding talent early. In order for them to find that talent early, that community talent has to be supported at the community level. And so I'm going to come to that in my 5 minutes. But I do want to say that we have to realize what we are up against. And we have to be able to grow and craft a cricket sector and a cricket market that realizes that, I mean, India is a vast population, and cricket is something they continue to hold sacred. If you couple that with the fact that they are out every day supporting and finding little boys and girls who are able to, at the level of the community, and finding them there and growing them and supporting them at that level, we will realize that we have to shift tremendously what we are doing with cricket and with the development of our grounds in this region. But I want to support something else that the Honourable Member said in his intervention, which is, how do we grow the industry here in Barbados? Now, about 6 years ago, when I made reference to a cricket hotel in the area, there were those who thought that it was a preposterous idea. But I'm glad to see that is something of which we have not let go. And I go back to India, and I want to assure you, sir, that it has nothing to do with the origins of my new family members. But I go back to because I think we need to look at the nations that are doing it well and understand how they have gotten where West Indies used to be. Now, the other day, sir, I found myself, for some reason, in an online disagreement with a stranger about a particular player. It was a post that was made, and you know how you get sometimes in this back and forth with people on social media. All in good fun. And I realized that the majority of the comments that were being made in that thread were from Indian people, right? People who are following the game worldwide, just because of the sheer numbers of the population and who have an unbreakable affinity with the sport, happen to come from India. If we targeted that market alone to be able to drive visitors who are driven here by watching cricket, by experiencing KOMI, by experiencing the life and how the legends lived and where they lived in the region, we would already have a tremendous market to be able to grow that sector. I mean, we will continue to have England and the Barmy Army, we will continue to have all kinds of people. We need to target the highest population of cricket fans, and today that is India. We need to come up with a strategy, and that is going to include all kinds of other cultural shifts that we need to make. We need to be able to understand how these people that we will be inviting, how they move, how they eat, how they pray, and we will need to be able to carve what we do around that. But sir, I want to say quickly that one of the reasons that India, even though regrettably they did not succumb to Australia in the last going down, much to my heartbreak. But again, one of the reasons that they've been able to grow the sport so much is the investment at the level of the community. Now, sir, I support this investment in KOMI. I have to, I believe in it, and I believe in what cricket can become again for the West Indies. And I do believe that the terms will begin to improve as the African Export-Import Bank spreads its wings in the region. That is a natural way that financial institutions begin and evolve. And so these things, I think, are manageable by the government. I very much appreciated the information that we received about the fact that I believe the increase in the debt amounts to, as a guarantee to the government of Barbados, by the government of Barbados, amounts to less than 0.3%. So these terms I find are manageable. What I struggle with is the extent to which we are making this large investment in cricket infrastructure, but we are not making sufficient small investments in sporting and community infrastructure at the community level in this country. Sir, I was very pleased to be able to partner with volunteers in the private sector recently to refurbish the Gully Hill Pavilion. And we had extensive discussions with the Sports Council about what they could contribute to that, and what resources they had to allow them to contribute to that, and finally realizing that the resources that they had at their disposal would not meet the requirements of the community in that moment, and continue not to meet the requirements of the community in every moment. And so we had to step up and say, look, we need to have somewhere for our young people to be, and we need to have somewhere for sports and the arts to develop in Carrington Village and in Valerie, and so we're gonna go ahead and do this. But it seems to me that we seem to be able to move so much more nimbly and quickly with these big ticket plans at the national level. And a simple plan for scheduled maintenance and upgrade of facilities, cutting of pastures and erection and fixing of lights and maintenance of pavilions. These basic bread and butter issues that make such a difference to people every day that we seem not to be able to execute to the satisfaction, not just of the community, but in many cases, perhaps not even to the satisfaction of the very institutions that are meant to be tasked with it. How are we resourcing the maintenance of community centers and community grounds? How? How much? With what regularity? What is the level of supervision? What is the plan? We talked earlier about having master plans and having, being able to have schedules. I've heard the Honorable Member for Christchurch West talk about having a building maintenance plan at the level of across all government buildings. And yet, we don't seem to realize that the Shea Hopes and the Jason Holders and the Alec Athenays and all of these young people who are doing so well now in their various countries, they come from a community. They had to have somewhere to run boat. And so, while I very much support the investments that are necessary for KOMI, I think it is going to see, the upcoming series is going to see a lot of economic activity. But if you see my face looking pained, sir, it's because I do not understand, with all sincerity, how we are not resourcing the day-to-day maintenance of our community centers and the programs that have to take place therein. And so I'm simply asking, and I have every confidence that the member for St. John will speak to this and will be able to give some clarity and some confidence, but I believe that this is something, it is all well and good to have a brilliant KOMI, a brilliant cricket ground, that when people pass, they can see and people can go and experience. But young people wake up every morning and look outside their window. KOMI is not the first thing they see. They get a message from us about how much we believe in them based on how we maintain the spaces that they occupy. The other day at the same Gully Hill, there's a gentleman that brings his daughter every evening and their little puppy to play in the play park. She went attempting to climb, and this was not the maintenance problem of the National Sports Council, but of another institution. And she went attempting to climb up on the slide, and the grass was taller than her. And these may sound like small things, but we're doing big things. So how we reach the big things and we know the small things? Sir, I support this resolution. And I trust that just as we have seen the importance of maintaining our historic grounds, that we likewise understand the importance of maintaining our community grounds and showing our young people that we are betting on them and that we believe in them. Mr. Speaker, I'm obliged to you.